The Havenbell Trilogy, Book 1, The Child of Harmony, written by Allison Hunt. Chapter 6, The Temple. Duran had returned to them and told them that they must meet the council. He assured Phariseth that his mother was alive and safe, but that his father truly was held captive in Ortso. He had been relieved a little by this news. Duran had left afterward. Phariseth had to fly Trillium in a sling-like contraption. Riding Ivory to Elkstaff and leaving her outside unprotected would be dangerous and stupid. Not only would it be an obvious sign of their presence, she doubted she would come across another Pegasus any time soon. The fly was steady and peaceful. Trillium tried her best to enjoy every one of her senses, flying with her eyes closed, arms out, and hair flying in the wind. It was a peaceful break, but Trillium could feel the weight of something sinister in the air, darkness on the horizon. He landed her, stretched his back, and arched his wings. She observed the vegetation, looking at the flowers. After a few minutes, Trillium looked at him. "I don't see anything." "Nor do I. Let's walk." They walked on the shore next to the rolling waves and then turned inland looking for any kind of structure. They came onto a bay. Trillium tripped, but Phariseth caught her. "What was it?" Trillium turned and looked. Phariseth knelt down next to her and could see a tiny thin line, like a piece of hair. He reached his hands before him and could feel the wall. "It's hidden right here." "Show your amulet and speak your name," a voice bellowed from inside the invisible walls. "Your amulet, Trillium." He pulled his clear amulet out from his shirt and held it out. She did the same. "Prince Phariseth of Josephera." "Trillium Blackwood of Maylene, Child of Harmony." They passed through an archway, and once inside they could see the breathtaking temple made of gold and stones of all kinds. At the entrance were two spiraling pillars, each adorned with vines of morning glories. They approached the double doors. Upon them were 3 large eyes. The door opened, showering them with light. Inside, the floors were marble, and many statues lined the walkway. Human, Adrella, elf, fairy, and Josepherian. Even the lands beyond the Forbidden Sea. The ogres of Ortso, the dark-skinned warriors of Drake, and even the centaurs from Claran. There were paintings of all the places in Havenbell. She had been to a few now. Her thoughts remained on the mountains of shadow, and now the outlands. In one corner of the temple there was a cut-out floor over the water, and inside was the king of the Adrella. She rushed to him and pressed her forehead to his, even though she was in land form, and used her thoughts to talk to him. "Hello, William. I didn't know you were part of the council." "You do now. Most of the royals are, you know." "So my mother was part of this council, and you are the strangers that left me gifts?" He paused. "Yes. That must be Jonathan's son Phariseth." "Yep. Where is everyone?" Inside of the water appeared another Adrella, this one female, but before she could get introduced, another set of double doors, this one made from stained glass, opened. A tall Josepherian with long silver hair walked out, followed by Esmeralda and another large fairy. They took their seats at the long rectangular table. It was elven, made of cherry wood, and wonderfully carved with images. Esmeralda smiled at Trillium. 2 male elves walked in. One had red hair like hers, and one with brown hair. She got excited. It was the first time she had seen another elf that hadn't been corrupted by the Dark Ones since she was 4 summers old. "Take your seats." They sat in the 2 remaining chairs next to each other. One seat remained. "Hello, and welcome to the Council of the Third Eye. I am Neja Winsfeld, the leader of this council of wizards and healers. A couple of these people you already know. King William and Sarah from Coral Kingdom, Esmeralda and Philip from Fairy Island, Drew, Bunky, and Donica from Phadia. We welcome Trillium and Phariseth," they said together. "We have many things to discuss today. Thank you for returning the force field back to Fairy Island. That will bide us some time before our next move. They've had our eye for some time now, and after their last harvest from the fairies, we have the disadvantage. Power has fallen into their hands. Their sorcery has made our lives longer. Esmeralda used to walk among the humans many summers ago. We are not the first generation to fight these foes." Esmeralda then spoke. "Drew was a spy we sent to the mountains. He lived there for 3 summers among the filth until he escaped right before the fire of Phadia. It took us some screening to let him back in. His mind was red and he was washed of the brew." "Brew?" she asked. This time Philip spoke. "The brew is how the wizards of shadow get their power from the fairies. They become slaves to it, and it slowly eats away at them. It is their biggest weakness. They are led by Jade and Tolan, two very dangerous villains. Esmeralda remembers these two when they were but children. Jade was born to Darien Zane, the great ruler of Fairy Island. Being of highest royalty, her father was crushed when she fell in love with a peasant farmer's son. He had rescued her when she had ridden out beyond the kingdom and into the country hillside where she found these alluring fairy woods. She got lost, and he had found her, for this was his backyard. They knew they were meant for each other despite of their class. She finally told her father whom she wished to marry. He flew into a rage and arranged her to marry a duke. She was no longer given a choice in this matter. Mysteriously, both of her parents were found poisoned 2 days before the wedding. Tolan and Jade fled into hiding. Jade's mother, the queen, was a healer who had special powers that she passed to Jade. The two of them became friends with the fairies. They lived off the land, grew their own food, and made their own clothes. One day troops from Zane's palace found their little house while Jade was out in the woods. When she got back, the house had been set on fire and Tolan was gone. Her screaming and crying brought her the attention of one of her large fairy friends. She tried to comfort the wounded Jade, but Jade had snapped. She killed the fairy, and she noticed the extra strength it instantly gave her. Her powers tripled, and she gained new ones, like moving things with her mind. She made it into the kingdom to find her brother. With these persuasive powers, she tricked the guards into letting her in. After that, she was home free. She knew every passage in the palace. She found Tolan in a cell. She tried to talk the guard out of the key, but when that failed, she used her mind to move a sword from the wall and killed him. When she entered the cell, Tolan was in the corner. He had been whipped. By the time she left the castle with Tolan, everyone there was dead, including her brother. She had wanted to stay there, but she knew the wizards would be looking for them. They fled to the mountains, picking up strays on their way. They tunneled a cave in which they lived. The more people that came there, the bigger the cave got. Thus the Dark Ones were born, the Wizards of Shadow. Drew looked at Bunky, who carried on. Wallace and Kelly Locks joined them. He was the head healer in those days, and the most powerful of wizards. He heard that the healers of the mountains found something very powerful and were willing to share it for a price. With the brew, he could completely disappear. They called him the Cloak. It had to have been him who stole the eye. We found ashes on the ground the next day. The sunlight had fried them. Did the Cloak have a son? Trillium asked. I'm not sure, Drew replied. I haven't been in the mountains for over 25 summers. Our attempts at sending spies ever since have failed. I met one in the fairy wood. He could completely blend into the trees. I think maybe he was his son. How did you get out of the woods? It's almost impossible. We got lucky. Bunky spoke again. We have lost many elves as well after the fire. Somehow we need to get in there, retrieve the eye, and free the slaves. What if they are against us because of the brew? We can at least try to break the spell. We believe there to be a spy among us. How did they get into Josephera? Morgan Augusta was responsible for my kingdom's destruction. They told her they would kill Trillium and give her powers if she broke the shield. Neja raised his eyebrow with interest. Farisev continued. She had been trying to get my attention for many summers, but she saw my attraction for Trillium and considered her an outsider. Council glanced at each other. Trillium felt her face grow hot. There is still something strange going on. We plan to send another spy. It may prove even too dangerous for you, Trillium. You have the best chance because you are an Adrella and can get closer without being noticed, but losing you would be a great disaster. We have been trying to find the secret to breaking the elemental curse. We have found a long endurance spell but cannot break the sickness of elemental travel. Your mother founded the crossbreeding spell to improve on the sickness, but the ingredients are rare. That's why I advise you two to be careful. Farisev, you have a kingdom to rebuild and rule. After losing nearly half of your people in the attack, the last thing you need is for them to rebel against you for choosing her over a feather. You shall be separated for a while for both of your benefit. They glanced at each other but knew he was right. Neja looked at Farisev. On another note, your father has been kidnapped and taken to Ortso. We can only pray he's still alive. The king of Ortso, you see, has wanted him for several summers. Jonathan has had affairs with many women of other lands. One of the women died in the Forbidden Sea, and for that he blames your father." Verisov sat back in his chair. It looked like someone had punched him, and he needed a minute to make sense of it all. "Should we plan a rescue mission?" "No," Verisov stated. "He is still one of us. He's your father and the king of the feathers. We may decide to send a rescue, but there is much to attend to right now. You must take hold and rebuild your kingdom. I know what you've just been through, and things will be hard. Because of the drastic loss of your people, we will send elves up to help you rebuild. We know your kind does not take lightly to the elves, but under the circumstances we think it will be all right. The sickness will set in, so shifts shall be arranged. There are a couple of small islands between Bathia and Josephera. They will be transported there for rest. You will need to build up your armies, make them stronger and faster. The time of all wizards is nigh. Trillium, you will be sent to the sea. There is something waiting for you. Your mother placed it there. What is it? Ask her for yourself." Trillium's eyes showed whites all around. Verisov's did as well. "Please welcome the Queen of Phadia, Jasha Blackwood." A great door began to open, casting in a great light. Out of the silhouette came a beautiful elf clad in jewels. Trillium's amulet began to glow in unison with her mother's. Durand sat upon her shoulder. "Trillium, how long I have thought of you and missed you for many summers. At last I am reunited with you." Trillium did not run to her as Jasha had hoped. Trillium's eyes filled to their brims. "How dare you? Durand belongs to you?" Durand would not make eye contact. She continued, "Do you mind if I speak to my mother alone? I need many questions answered." Esmeralda spread her arms, and the two double doors began to open. They both began to walk. Jasha's eyes brimmed with tears. They entered the room, and the door shut silently behind them. Jasha reached out to hold her hand. Without looking at her mother, she held out her hand in protest. "Trillium, please," she begged. "I didn't mean to hurt you. Don't be angry." Trillium strung her both so fast that Jasha was helpless to even begin to pull her own to defend herself. Trillium circled Jasha slowly. "I grew up alone on a deserted island, and although I had Durand, I really had no one. No other person to hide me, protect me, love me. You could have let me know. Let me hope that one day I might find you. Trillium, if they found me, they would have found you. I couldn't risk your life. It was better that they believed I was dead. It killed me every time I thought of you, even raised in solitude. I know enough that you do not betray the ones you love. Do you think I wanted to send you away? Do you think I enjoyed you believing I was dead all this time? It killed me, too. I refused at first, but the council had made the order, and to betray them would have meant losing all protection from them. I would have been found and killed. I chose to wait and hope to see you someday. Trillium, I couldn't risk your death. You are the child of harmony." Trillium put her bow away. "I am your child." She embraced her mom hesitantly, but then squeezed her tight like she could slip away at any moment. They stayed like that for some time, crying tears from their identical emerald eyes. At last Trillium spoke. "You must understand my surprise. It may take a little time, but this is wonderful." So with things partially mended, they returned to their council. As she returned to her seat, Verisov looked at her. She nodded to show him that she was all right. "The key you have, daughter, it opens a secret cave inside the sea. I put armor in it summers ago. You must gather them. There are some special things from Phadia that I hid in there when I escaped the fire. Those must go back to our homeland." "What do the letters on the key mean, Mother?" "Take a minute to think about that." Trillium crinkled her brow and then looked at King William. She realized that she was half a Drella, and so was her father, whomever he may be, and since her mother turned out to be alive, and the second piece of the half-circle was a Z. "Really?" "Yes." "Zed?" "Yes." Trillium ran to her father and pressed her forehead on his. Verisov watched and smiled. I have a family, she rejoiced. We will meet again when the moon is full. Tomorrow you must begin your journeys apart. Take the rest of the day to rest. Council is adjourned. They said farewell. Trillium hugged and kissed her parents again and left the temple. Jasha smiled. Veriseph, can you please fly me to Maylene? I know it's a long way, but I need to see it one last time. I don't think I can handle the distance. I have an endurance spell left, and I don't need it. No problem. They flew for hours, only stopping to rest a while at Misty Falls. Even though they were at the place where they had first met, both remained silent and troubled. They started off again, and when they got closer, they could see something strange in the air, some kind of haze. Smoke, she said. They've found it. Turn back to the falls. Veriseph turned back. He could hear Trillium weeping. They landed again, and Trillium ripped off the harness and embraced Veriseph. They lied, every single one of them, everyone but you. I will never lie to you. I will give you everything you ever want. Everything but a home, Veriseph. I have only been to the sea twice, and I am still a stranger. I cannot live up above. Fathia is my homeland, and I remember very little about it. I may not even get to see it again. How this day has made me sorrowful. I only wish to see my home of Maylene one last time, but the Dark Ones have found it. Now it's gone. It was all a matter of time, really. I will be destined to wander, and my mother, what a surprise and such betrayal. I, too, feel lost and betrayed. At least you didn't find out your father is a bad guy. I very much doubt that. I'm terribly sorry, Veriseph. You lost your father and almost your mother, and kingdom as well. I am ungrateful for what I have gained. I'm sorry. She kissed him. The council, he warned. We cannot, and you know it. He knew he could go no further. He rested for a while, composing himself, and then she whispered, You know that you are the most special person in my life. I trust only you, and maybe one day, if all is well, your people will accept me. I will miss you dearly while we are apart, Veriseph. She leaned her head next to his. He got a whiff of her jasmine scent and closed his eyes. They watched the sun set together. The lowering sun filled the clouds with neon orange, fuchsia, and magnificent purples. Veriseph tried to get her to stay at the palace, but she refused. The shield was still broken, and she was safer next to the sea. They said their farewells. She kissed Veriseph and then watched him fly into the clouds. She found a nice spot to sleep for the night and thought of that kiss until she fell asleep. Mutt hiked up the back of the mountains, panting like a dog. He couldn't remember the last time he had gotten so much exercise. Never, probably. It had been hot and humid with the summer creeping in. At last the water warrior blessed him with a little rain. The creatures of Havenbell believed in a great spirit, and of the spirit warriors. The spirits were angels of the elements and seasons to guard and protect the earth. It was told that when great people of virtue died, they became spirit warriors. There was one spirit for each element, each season, and one with the greatest powers, the rainbow warrior. They were guardians of the earth. Mutt had actually known an elf that had seen one. He was drowning and claimed that a beautiful woman with blue wavy hair that floated in the air, like she was under water, had appeared to him and lifted him out. At first Mutt had laughed at the poor fellow, but had quickly stopped when he saw the seriousness on the elf's face. Today Mutt thanked her for the rain. He had told the others he would be out observing and setting traps for the wizards of the temple. They probably believed him or didn't give a shit, probably the latter. He carried a large bag with him. He sat, throwing the bag down, and heaved in the air, letting the rain fall over him. He wondered what the heck the old hag had left for him. The curiosity was killing him. It was the only reason he would put his body through this. Or was it? She reached you, didn't she? The real you. She made you believe again. His mind talked. Better not be a trap. I am still one of them. Well, sort of. He started up the crevice again. There used to be a path, but it had long since overgrown. He slipped twice on loose rock, sliding and scraping his hands and knees. His clothes were wet. Better be worth it, he muttered. He finally reached the top. The air was thin and cold. The rain had stopped just in time. He wanted to sleep. He was completely drained. The air was too brisk. Most of the snow had melted, but some still remained in the shadows. The lookout was a flat circle littered with bones and mugs from a long-forgotten party. From here he could see Phthia in the distance. He could see the closest cloud of Josephera. The smoke had finally gone out. They weren't expecting that one, were they? He closed his eyes and tried to doze, despite of the wind. He almost forgot why he had come when a flash of light crossed his eyes. He opened them and saw light being reflected from something buried in the ground. He jumped up like he had sat on a thorn and rushed to it. He dug out a glass bottle filled with bright blue liquid. Looks like some potent stuff. He dug something else out of the ground as well, a small wooden box. He brushed the dirt off of it and was abashed. On the lid of the box was a carved elven flag with the symbols of an arrow and chisel. It was framed with trees. I haven't seen anything elven in many winters. He stopped. Summers. I had even forgotten that, too. He ran his fingers back and forth over the carved designs. He then opened the box and took out a small scroll. Trillium had a dream of a handsome man going on his 24th summer. She was drowning, which made no sense at all, as dreams often don't. Can an Adrella drown? He pulled her up, and when she saw him, she lost her heart. He was so handsome and mysterious. Not all is what it seems. Something about his voice was so strong, so powerful. The council still holds secrets, and the war draws near. Then she saw a dragon made of flames scorching elves on land and frying feathers in the sky. A being or a wizard rode upon the beast, but she could not see his face. She screamed and woke up, startled. I've seen that dragon before. Who is that guy? Clouds were starting to roll in, and she could feel the chill in the air. As the rain approached, she began to change her clothes. Today, she would not feel the rain. At that time, 2 warriors set out from Drake. They got to the south shore after a dangerous hike through many jagged rocks. The shore here used to be smooth and sandy, but the rocks were purposely placed to do one thing Drakens valued over anything: seclusion. Keep the Drakens in, keep all evil out. It took them from dawn to dusk to carefully cross the rocks. They were long, tall, and dark-skinned like all of those who lived in Drake. These 2 were very skilled, but still very lucky not to slip. This is it? The taller one asked. This is our boat? This thing looks over 100 summers old, Jin agreed and kicked the boat, making it wobble. Couldn't we have asked King Zareen to give us something better? Do you think he would have given it to us? Probably would have killed us if he knew we were leaving. That elf said to leave unnoticed, so this is what we get. Do you think this thing will hold us? Guess we'll have to see. They each had a bag of supplies and a spear. They carefully climbed in, and Kai took the oars. They started out into the sea with the sun shining upon them. After they got out of the rougher waves, they both sprawled on each end of the boat. They took some bread and dried meat out of their packs and had a snack. They ate fast without conversation. When they were done, they crossed their arms behind their heads and began to doze off. They had been sleeping for an hour when Jin woke up. Kai! No movement. Kai! We're sinking! He shook him but failed to wake him. You could sleep through a battle. Might as well get soaked. At least that might wake you. Kai! He kicked his foot and Kai blinked. What? Our food is soaked. Do you know how to swim? My pa taught me once on a lake, but I must have been 10 summers old. Well, I don't. How do we get talked into this mess? Help! Jin screamed. The dark wizards will find us and kill us. Either that or drown. This part of the sea is really cold, and you're too big for me to carry. Help! He cried. Nothing was in sight. The water was already to their ankles. You ready for the shock of your life? The boat began to sink, and they prepared themselves the best they could. Kai screamed, and he submerged to his neck. Float on your back like this. Jin flipped over. Kai tried to do the same but couldn't stay up. Sinking! Jin swam to him and carried him for as long as he could. You're my best friend, Kai. I'm glad I got to spend the last of my days with you. Don't say I didn't try to save you." "Thanks." They both began to go under. Trillium swam to Coral Kingdom and approached William. "Hello, Trillium." He motioned for the guards to leave him. After they left, Trillium swam up to him and pressed her foreheads against his. "I'm so happy, Father." "As am I," he smiled and hugged her. "Where are you going today? I want you to stay with me for a while." "I wish I could stay, but I must find the hidden cave and return the sacred things to the elves." He nodded with understanding. "Please know that you are always welcome here and that I always want to see you." "Yes, I know. Thank you. I have a question I don't know how to ask. It's not really important. I'm just curious." "Don't be afraid to ask." "Zeed's mother. Who is she?" William frowned and then sighed. "Her name was Eileen. I married her before Zeed was born, and I loved her very much. One day about one summer ago, she began to act strange and was having some reoccurring nightmare. She insisted nothing was wrong, but one day she vanished. I believe she was being led to the Dark Ones." "Is she one of them now?" "She never made it. We found her body when it washed back out of the Forbidden." "I am sorry, Father. What happened? Did they kill her?" "No, I don't think so. I believe she was lured to them, and although their dark magic would protect her through the cold waters, her heart was too good." "I don't understand." "I think sometime after she entered the Forbidden, her heart changed her mind. She couldn't do it. Her heart won, you see, and the evil spell that protected her was broken, and she was no longer protected in the Forbidden." "I'm so sorry. I guess it was better that she did not become one of them, as sad as it is." "Oh, how right you are. Her heart was too good, and it killed her, but it was better than what could have happened." "Do you love my mother?" "You do not hold back, do you?" "Pardon me, you do not have to answer." "Yes, I do. We were very much in love at one time. She found the only mixed breeding spell, and it may never be made again. She had to hide it away to protect you, and the council advised me to marry an Adrella to keep my kingdom strong, so I did." "Do you think you could ever fall in love again?" "We love each other very much, and we will always. If we can defeat our foes and cure the elemental sickness, maybe it is possible." "May I see Zeed?" "Did you tell him? Does he know?" "Yes, he does now. Go ahead, he's practicing." Trillium hugged and kissed her father and went to find her brother. She found him training and was impressed at how he looked with his armor on. When he saw her enter, he dismissed his trainers. "You look tough," Trillium told him, and pressed her forehead to his. "Thanks," he answered, a little flattered. "Can you believe it, Zeed?" "I'm so happy I can hardly stand it. Are you staying?" "I wish I could, but I have a mission to complete." "Aw," Zeed whined. "I know, but I'll see you soon, I promise." "You better." "You will. See you, Trillium. See you soon, brother." She left and his trainers came back. She left Coral Kingdom, and after quite some time she found an underwater cavern and put her key in place. The doorway consisted of 3 large circles that ground slowly one at a time until all 3 clicked in place and the door rolled away. Inside there was only the light that came through a small hole on the top of the cave. It was full of armor of all different kinds. There must have been some kind of spell cast in here to keep all of the metal from rusting. She picked out some armor that would fit her, and then she found the other pile. In this pile were the most precious-looking pieces. These were the things that Jasha had hidden. The things she knew were meant to go back to Fairy Island. She carried as much as she could and swam outside the door to the cave. It was a cone-shaped hill that reached all of the way to the surface. When her head broke out of the water into the air again, she saw the hill of the cave from the outside. She looked down through the hole that shed the light. The hole was small, and even as thin as she was, she could not squeeze through it. On one side, there was a boat tied up to a tree that grew out of the side of the hill. She loaded it with what she could carry and swam back down into the cave. She did this a few times until all the sacred pile was cleared. She then saw a flicker of gems positioned on the opposite wall and looked over at it. There was a beautiful bow and arrow set that immediately caught her eye. It was pure silver and thin enough to be flexible. It was encrusted with many rare-looking jewels. "Thank you," she said to the non-present council. It was inscribed with the bow and chisel, the emblem of the elves. "Yes, I'm finally going to Phaedia. I'm finally going home." 2 Adrella guards were doing their rounds around the forbidden border when they saw commotion on the surface. Both jumped into high alert. What are they?" the other asked. "They're from Drake. I've seen one before, a long time ago. To see one in a lifetime is rare, but 3? I can't believe it." "They could be dark ones. Let's take them to the king." "They'll drown, you moron." "Oh yeah, looks like they are drowning." They both swam to the strange new beings. They each grabbed one and swam with smooth and steady speed to the nearest shore. They pushed them onto the beach. Jin began to cough and woke up with a face full of sand. He spit the grit out of his teeth. He turned to Kai and put his ear to his friend's nose. He relaxed when he could hear breath. "Kai, we're okay," Jin rejoiced. Kai moaned. He began to sit up. He rubbed his eyes. Jin briefly saw a man in the water, but he looked strange. His face was pale gray and he had large, bottomless blue eyes. The man winked at him and was gone. "Did you see that?" "See what?" Kai answered, annoyed, trying to fill the missing gaps of his memory. "I think I saw an Abella." "What's an Abella?" "You remember those children's stories about the sea people?" "Yeah, I do, but those are just made-up stories they tell children to make them use their imagination." "I swear, I just saw one. I swear he saved us." "Well, I didn't see anything. I think the water warrior just decided to take it easy on us." "Where the hell are we?" "I don't know. We could be hundreds of miles from Phaedia." "Wherever we are strangers, and worst of all, unarmed." "Aw, crap!" Lars sat among the wizards and was handed a fresh mug of fairy delight. Jade spoke. "All we have is one large fairy left, and that should hold us off for a while. Even with the eye, we cannot penetrate the fairy force field. Soon there will be a battle. I have foreseen it. If we want to win and survive, we have to make another kill, a good one," Tolan finished. "Losing the cloak was our biggest loss, but now to Groot, Tambit, and Aurora, we need some new recruits. We have spies and slaves, but it is unknown whether they will stay loyal." "They will. They must have the brew. They are helpless." "As a reward for the capture of Joseph Farah, the king of Ortso is sending us troops." "Yes!" Nimmy shouted. "I'm going to get the one that killed my DeGroot." "Along with the slaves and army, we shall be fine. Only a few of us can talk to the Adrella, and they have the hardest time trusting us. If we could strengthen an alliance with them somehow, it would do a lot for our goals." A crow flew in the cave squawking madly. It landed on Jade's shoulder. She smiled. "Just leave that to me." Trillium beached upon the shores of Phaedia. She was excited, even though she could see no trees. She covered the goods in the boat with her cloak and slung her new bow and quiver on her back. She climbed the sandy hill but was heartbroken when she reached the top. All of the trees had been burned or chopped. No grass grew on the barren ground. She saw a group of elves rapidly approaching her. One rode a horse. She waved her arms to them, excited to meet new elves. She was taken back when an arrow grazed her. "Hey, don't shoot! I don't want to fight!" Still the arrows flew. She watched them all with precise vision and dodged them all in a series of jumps and flips. "I am a friend of the queen. I come peacefully." They still charged her. Against her better judgment, she placed the bow down and backed up. "If you are a friend of the queen, why do you have her missing bow?" "I found it on a quest. I had no idea it belonged to her." "When Phaedia was attacked, much of the royal armor was stolen. How are we supposed to know if you're a wizard or not?" "I'm elvenkind, don't you see?" "We've never seen the likes of you before, and besides, we do not serve our estranged queen." His lips pressed into a straight line. What Trillium hadn't realized is that the current had sent her about 20 miles north of the border between north and south. If she had landed on the other side of the wall, about 10 miles south, she would have been greeted and honored. The north side had remained dead ever since the fire. The northern elves were converted and traded with the dark ones. "You are a trespassing stranger harboring stolen goods." He pointed at the boat and the elves swarmed it. "Hey!" "Keep your mouth shut." 2 guards grabbed her hands. The leader leaned forward and snatched the bow. He overlooked it with greedy eyes and then passed it to a guard. "This one's mine." "Damn you!" she spat on him. "String her up and take her to the city." The elves cheered. They chained her arms and feet. The leader led them, and 5 guards followed him. She was third to the last in line. 2 followed behind her. They walked through a forest graveyard. Darkened skeleton trees still stood all around them. One of the guards behind her held the end of the chains. He was large and smelled ripe. He stepped on the chain, halting Trillium in mid-step, sending her to the darkened earth. The smaller guard accidentally stepped on the chain, sending the big one down on top of her. It knocked the wind out of her. His sweaty armpit fell over her face. He yanked her up violently. The leader turned to see what the commotion was about, and then turned away disinterested. He accidentally dropped one of the chains. She had had just enough time to slip out of the bindings. She swung the chain, and it struck one. He dropped to the ground, knocked out cold. She grabbed the chain and freed her feet. The other charged her, and she high-kicked him, sending him backwards to the dirt. This grabbed everyone's attention, and they all mugged her. She took on 9 at once. She swung the loose chain above her head and nailed 4 with it. She dropped it and took a flying leap at one of them. He held up his shield, but the impact of her smashed his head into it. He tumbled, and she snatched the shield and deflected the incoming arrows. She took a dagger from her boot and flung it into one's chest. The other went to help him, and she got him as well. Then a shock of pain rushed up her arm. There was now an arrow stuck through her. She cried out and fell to her knees. She turned and saw the leader with the silver bow aimed at her. The other grabbed her from behind. He left the arrow in her and tied her arms again. The wounded began to recover, and a few of them limped back into the line. They started to the city again, and doom awaited her like a stalker. Jin and Kai had scrounged around for something to eat, but only found berries and blossoms. They ate a little, but it only made them hungrier. They started to the forest to find food and water. They saw no signs of anybody. "We're so screwed," Jin pouted. "Huh? How are we going to catch anything without weapons?" "I don't know yet. You know, we may never be able to return home." "Yeah, that's the risk we take. Hopefully, if we do what we are told, that elf will reward us." "Yeah, I hope so." They reached where the woods began, and Kai looked uneasily at Jin. "We don't have any idea what's in there." "Doesn't matter as long as we can eat it." They both laughed. They entered the forest. It felt good to be under the canopy of trees. Many wildflowers grew inside. They stopped and smelled each one. There was nothing like this in Drake. It was a hot desert where most things were dead or thorny, and the greener part of Drake was in no way this massive. They were amazed at the lush greenness. Jin heard a rustle and saw a medium-sized bull elk quietly munching on some grass. He looked at Kai, who nodded, and they both began to creep closer to it. Kai got close behind it and wiggled a finger at Jin. Jin was smaller and quieter than he. Jin nodded and crept up to his side. He made his move and jumped upon the beast. He linked his arms around its neck. Kai tried to jump on its back, but he was too late, and the elk took off with Jin dangling from it. Kai fell on his face. The beast ran with Jin holding onto it, flailing like a rag doll. He let go. "Kai!" he cried. Just then 6 elves appeared. They had been watching them. "Damn, those elves are silent," Kai said. "What in the world are you doing to that poor thing?" the tallest laughed. He was the only one who had seen a picture of these beings before. He looked up at the elves that were laughing. "My friend says you two are Draken folk, but you are strangers and mighty suspicious. The war creeps near, so it does, and your presence here frightens us. Luckily ye have no weapons, or that elk would have been dinner." They all laughed again. The tall one spoke. "We surely would have attacked you if you had been armed." A stout elf pushed his way through and gave them the evil eye. "I say we take them to the steward and have them hung. Why are you here? Who sent you?" he shouted. Jin knelt down curiously and picked a flower close to him. The elves all immediately collapsed in a bow of praise. Kai looked at Jin and just shrugged. He had unknowingly picked a trillium. "Hail! Our apologies! We must part the way for all who serve the Child of Harmony." This took them back. They had heard many things about the first half-breed, even though their land was secluded from HAVENBELL. It was good news. It meant the child did exist. They had many questions to ask but asked none. His goof turned out to be a blessing. "Come to Serenity City. You may stay and rest as long as you like. It's obvious you two are hungry. Come feast with our people." They grinned and followed. They paraded Trillium through the dirty streets of the small outcast town. It attracted much attention. They booed her, shouted rants, and threw food at her. She felt humiliated, her own kind doing this to her. She was in pain and felt defeated. Her arm throbbed and bled where the arrow still stuck. The pain was vicious. It was getting infected, but no matter what she felt or what they planned on doing to her, she would not break or show them tears. They strung her to a pole and stacked hay and wood around her. "Burn the traitor!" they shouted. "Burn the thief!" "Please do not do this. It'll mean great doom to you all." He dropped the torch. Doomed we already are. Phariseth ate his dinner by himself. He was the only one who sat at this huge dining table. He was exhausted from training the army all day. He never felt so alone in his life. He longed for the company and love of his family. His mother was in Fairy Island healing. Most of all, he longed for Trillium. She was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. No one of his own race, not even the prettiest, could hold a flame to her. It had been 2 weeks since he had seen her, and when he was alone, he felt like he was dying inside. It had been hard in Josephera, but he had done a decent job. Elves were always building and repairing the kingdom. He felt sick to his stomach, and then a flash of images ran through his head like a broken film. Scenes would stop and start again. He froze, dropping the silver fork, which clanged on the marble floor. He saw a group of dingy elves shouting and throwing things. He saw her tied to a post. He watched the torch fall. "No!" he screamed and jumped. He ran as fast as he could, but he knew by the time his help arrived, it would be too late. The liquid that the old lady had given him was breaking him of the brew. He hadn't felt this good for many summers. He stared at the wheel, focusing all of his attention, all of his strength. Nothing happened. He tried again, grunting, and broke a sweat. The wheel turned halfway in a semicircle, then stopped. He had done it, just barely. He caught his breath and began to use his arms to churn. He had tried several times to do this, first using light objects. He had made them shake, but no real movement had happened. He had actually moved it this time. Not very well, but it was a start. One question floated around in his head like an obnoxious bee. If he really could free the slaves, which was a very hard task, then escape with his life, which was even harder still, would the elves ever accept him after spending so much time with the wizards? Probably not, but he was destined to find out. Jin and Kai woke that morning feeling rested and happy. After eating, the elves tried to arm them with bows, but neither knew how to use them. "Do you have anything else?" Jin asked. The elves led them to an armory, and upon the wall were 2 spears. "We want these," Kai told them. "Go ahead. None of us are skilled with spears. They're more for show." They both smiled as if they had the best treasure ever handed to them. They were much nicer than their old ones. They had heard that the elves were skilled craftsmen. They weren't kidding. They started out, escorted by 4 guards. Kai looked at Jin, who held the side of his head. "My head's killing me. Those elves sure know how to party." Jin smiled at this. "What do you suppose the flower had to do with the child?" "I have no idea. It must be some kind of symbol. Do you know the name of it?" "No, I've never seen anything like it. Same as you." "Good thing you did what you did, or we would have been toasted." "Yeah, thank the Great Spirit and the Rainbow Warrior for that one." "I've got a feeling the one we are looking for is the child." "So do I. Why else would we be summoned? Because we look like a couple of morons up for a suicide mission?" They laughed. An eagle flew overhead. The elves listened, for the bird had much to say. Trillium awoke. She blinked at the sun on her face. She lay on the soft grass in the shade of a willow. She could hear a babbling brook. She turned her head towards the water and let out a groan. She raised her arm to rub her face and saw a bandage on it. She remembered the arrow and the fire. She bolted upright. "Am I dead? Did the Rainbow Warrior bring me home to Maylene?" She pinched her arm. She was alive all right, but her wounded arm felt no pain. She was surprised that there was no tenderness. She felt like she'd slept for several summers. She was now sure she was in Fathia still, just a different part of it. How much it did feel like home. She heard a rustle, and in 3 seconds she grabbed for her bow, but there was none. She held her fists out instead. "Whoa, settle down," the stranger said. He was a tall man in his late 20s with light brown hair and eyes as blue as the sky. His voice was piercing, but of a pleasant kind. It was clear, wise, and demanded your attention. He laid 2 limp rabbits at her feet. "I've only come to bring you lunch." She burned with instant attraction. Her heart raced. She sat. "You're him." "I'm who?" "The one from my dream." "Am I? It's flattering that the child should dream of me. You have strong foresight. Who are you?" "My name is Jensen." He knelt beside her, but she backed away. "How do you know me?" "Easy. I saved you. If I hadn't come, they would have roasted you like a pig. Don't worry, I'm not one of them. I work for neither side. This war doesn't concern me." "Why should I believe you? How do I know you won't take me to them?" "Oh, by the way, I thought you might want this." He reached into his sack and pulled out the jeweled bow. He threw it and the arrows at her, which she caught like a crystal vase. "Thank you, but still, why should I trust your words?" "Do you think I would arm the child if I was a threat? I'm not that stupid, dear." She relaxed. He was right. He knew she could take him at the first sign of betrayal. He pulled out a pot and began to skin the rabbits. "But you're human. The only humans here are wizards." "Not all. I stay remote and out of sight, so people don't get the wrong idea." She considered this. "I feel great. My arm doesn't hurt. How'd you do that?" "A little trick from the elves." He gave her a pot of stew. They ate greedily. When they were finished, Trillium walked to the stream to wash up. She came back and laid down. Jensen looked at her, and she looked away. He reached out and held her neck, making her look at him. She felt hypnotized by him. She could feel him slipping into her mind. He was searching for something. She had to muster all of her strength and then shouted, "You do not belong here!" He jumped a little. "Sorry, it's a mind thing I've been working on." "Yeah, I'd say. You may ask me anything you like, but don't ever do that again. I can block you out anyway." He smiled. She was wrong. She was like a reed in the water, but she sensed him way too easily. He should have known that, but it was worth a shot. "Why do you look at me like that?" "Because you are the child. You lie. I want you. I'm infatuated with you. You are beautiful. I know you want me as well." He was right. Her heart began to race the minute she saw him. "I do not." "Now you're lying." "So you see through me as well?" "Yes." "I have more important matters to address," Trillium said, as if she were in a dream. She thought about her quest, the war, and Farisef. Dear Farisef. Nothing could block her mind from him. Kai, Jin, and a tribe of elves reached the wall that divided north from south. After the fire, they wanted to keep the evil on that side. They were going to unlock the door, but it was already unlocked and open. "This is not good," the elf holding the key muttered. They looked at each other and all raised their weapons. They went through the door running, screaming, and ready to kill. They got all about 5 feet before they all came to a dead stop. Something had definitely happened here, but they were too late. The dark elves lay scattered all over the dirt that was covered in blood. The dry earth soaked it up quickly. "Holy shit!" Jin cried. I wouldn't want to be on her bad side. She took them all. Neither had seen such carnage. "What's the child's name?" "Trillium," one of the elves answered. "Let's try to find her. The elven lady will be mad if we don't do our job." They split up shouting her name. Trillium heard this far off and snapped out of her dream. This startled Jensen, who waved his hand over her face and whispered, "Sleep." "I see something," Jin called. He rushed to where he saw the body in the grass. He shook her shoulder, but nothing happened. "Back up, don't startle her." He jumped back like he had been bitten. "Trillium, wake up!" She woke and jumped to her feet, drawing her bow in seconds flat. Whoa, wait! He motioned to Kai. They both lowered their weapons. We were sent by an elven lady to find you. You are not from here. Why would I be sent to outsiders? We are not really sure. We will ask her when we meet up. She knew that they were telling the truth, but remained suspicious. She told them that she had a boat on the northern side, so they followed her back through the door and walked into the dark land once again. They followed her to the village. She realized she hadn't been dreaming. All of the dark elves were dead. Jensen was no neutral man. He was a monster. He enjoyed his killing. He even took time to hack all of these guys into pieces. How could you do that? Isn't death enough? Jen accused. Trillium turned in surprise. I didn't do it, I swear. They didn't believe her. No, there was someone else here. He saved me from them. Then where is he? Kai asked. I don't know. He bandaged my arm. She pointed at the covered wound. You could have done it yourself, Jen shouted. The elves closed in on him, each with bows drawn. Whoa! She is the child. You are a stranger. If you doubt the child, we shall make you into a pincushion. Sorry, Trillium. I apologize. She nodded at him. The elves found the missing armor and rejoiced at their discovery. They gave Trillium, Kai, and Jen a bag of rations for their trip. They boarded Trillium's boat and pushed off to sea, waving at the elves that watched on the shore. After they were out a ways, Jen spoke. At least it's not a piece of crap. Old, but better. Hopefully we don't sink this time. He looked at Trillium. Can't swim. You sank? How did you survive? Annabella saved us. No, it was the water warrior. They heard a splash and Trillium was gone. She knew she could swim much faster than this boat could travel. Seemed to her that her mother must have sent them to protect her. They were outsiders after all, and they needed the protection. But what did they have to do with anything? They both jumped up, rocking the boat. Where did she go? A head popped out of the water and Jen screamed. That's right, she's a half-breed. See, I told you those Abella exist. That's what he looked like, those bottomless blue eyes. Trillium hopped back onto the boat and transformed. They sat in wonder. It was the weirdest thing they'd ever seen. Trillium started laughing. They looked at her, wondering if she was making fun of them or not. Jen got a little angry. What's so damn funny? Kai shook his head at Jen in disapproval. It's a Drella, and you should have seen your face when I surfaced. She laughed hard. She couldn't help it. Jen frowned. I'm sorry, she snorted between breaths. Kai tried to hold his composure, but laughed with her. I thought we were in trouble when you disappeared like that. You should have seen Jen's face. They both started roaring. Shut up, Jen shouted. Trillium was puzzled. Where are we supposed to go? I'm out of directions. She said go to Elf Stack. No, Jen, elk, like the creature we tried to catch, Jen corrected. Trillium laughed. How did that go? Did you catch him? Trillium teased. No, they both said at the same time, then looked at each other. We didn't have any weapons. Elkstaff, I know where that is. She jumped into the water again. Hey, where are you going? Don't leave us here. We're prey to everyone. You're such a wuss. Kai shook his head. We're armed, Jen. Jen looked eagerly for his new spear. Oh, yeah. I'll be back. See you soon. Verisef had decided to stay in his kingdom and sent out a small troop to Phaethia. As reluctant as he was to stay, he felt he had to. It could be a trap to lure him away. He knew some of the Dark Ones had powers and could send him visions. He could not abandon his people after the last attack, even if it were to save his true love. From at what distances these visions could be sent. There was a suspected traitor among them, from what the council had said. He was now wishing he had gone. If anything happened to her, he would never forgive himself. Just then the leader of his army walked in. He stood to his feet. She escaped her capture, took them out single-handed, and took time to butcher them all. We couldn't find her, but we're sure she's alive. This could mean very bad things for the council. If the Dark Ones tricked her to harm somebody on the council, or worse yet, turn her into one of them, he was relieved that she had made it out alive. He could now focus on the war to come. When it would happen, he could only guess. A week, a month, 2 summers, or maybe not at all, he hoped, but it had been foreseen by many, even Trillium. Foresight was our strongest power. There would be a council meeting tomorrow where his questions would be answered.